more on the growth taboo. Promoters of various sorts argue that this project will pay for itself. Does growth ever pay for itself?
No. The growth never pays for itself. At the community level, there was a small paperback book written by Ibn Fodor and published in 1999. And he's a planner in Oregon, and he just shows example after example where the growth in communities, new subdivisions, so on, never pays for itself. He estimated at that time that every new house in the state of Oregon cost the Oregon taxpayers the order of $25,000. So the growth at that level doesn't pay for itself. I used the 1970 census data years ago where the data showed that the per capita annual municipal taxes across the country was a monotonically increasing function of the size of the city. So if you go from one city to one that's twice that size, per capita municipal taxes go up between 20% and 25%. Now, if you look at it at the larger level, take the case of Colorado, we've had decades of incredible growth in population, in business, economics, and the economy and everything. And where has that left us? Well, we're essentially bankrupt. We're cutting back on education. We're cutting back on human services. We're cutting back on all sorts of things. Now, and people will say, well, that's because of the Tabor Amendment. Well, the Tabor Amendment had the same kind of a philosophy behind it, I suspect, as Proposition 13 in California. Both were citizen-initiated tax limitation things. And you have to ask, well, why would people vote for that? Well, the taxes were rising to pay the cost of the growth. And so people rebelled and try to stop. Now, unfortunately, it hasn't stopped it. The taxes continue to go up. And if they don't get you one way, they'll get you another way. But the growth never pays for itself. And it's really interesting that most of the states, maybe all of them, have statutory or constitutional limitations that prohibit the state from going into debt in any budget. But the federal government doesn't have that. And so the federal government now is bailing out. So we do all these growth things, and the federal government comes in and bails us out whenever we get into trouble. So we can get new highways from them, new sewer systems for our towns, and new support for our airports and everything like this. All from the feds, simply because they don't have any limitation and they can go into debt as much as they want. But they are sort of fostering the growth. They're encouraging it by paying the cost that we get into when our public officials locally make these decisions that run up our costs.